Welcome to Duke's Handbook. Let's jump right into it. Advice for parenting my adult son. Pretty sure the parenting part is supposed to come before the adult part, but let's see what we're working with here. My son is 21 and doesn't have a sustainable job. He sells Pokemon cards online and thinking he is making 100K plus a year. He's actually in slight debt. He didn't want to go to college, and when we asked him to try community college for a general studies degree, he failed all his classes and wouldn't show up. Okay. His diet is awful. He only eats pizza, ice cream, chips, sweetened yogurt, soda, etc. He's so picky and won't eat foods that have sat in the freezer too long or only have a handful left inside or have an extra ingredient, example, pizza with onions. Similarly, he doesn't exercise at all. I'm getting an idea of the person up here. I know what they look like. His hygiene is worse. His hygiene is worse. He doesn't wash himself, and when he does shower, it is just him sitting down and letting water run on him. Okay. He makes a mess everywhere he goes. He will leave his plates out, chips on the floor, wet towels on the floor, seasonings out, etc. When asked to clean it up, he simply says no. He will hit and scream if we insist or push consequences. He has a real job at a grocery store but only works once a week. He also doesn't drive anywhere outside the house except his job. Well, yeah. Doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't drive or go anywhere outside the house except for his job. His attitude is awful. He calls out my daughter for what she wears constantly, even if it's just a tank top or shorts. There's so much here I probably forgot to mention. It's difficult to parent him because he is an adult and can make his own choices, like I said before. He will scream and hit if we try to parent him. He thought about therapy. We thought about therapy before, but we know he won't go if we try. Please, any advice? I'm losing sleep over thinking about where he'll be in a few years. In a few years, he's going to be right there in his bedroom kicking and screaming because mommy and daddy are trying to take his toys away. You have a 21-year-old toddler. I would get him tested. He might be autistic or something. I don't know. But this is a kid that was literally never parented. Seriously. I shot at you. Shot at you. That's the only thing I can say right now. That is a shot at you. You needed to parent when parenting needed to be done. You don't start to parent when they're 21. You start the parenting immediately and as they're growing up so that by 21, they aren't sitting there trying to sell Pokemon cards thinking they're making $100,000 a year when they're spending more than $100,000 a year on the Pokemon cards. You get where I'm coming from here? It's not his fault he's the way he is. It's your fault. Now, granted, this is where I'm going to relieve some of the pressure off of you. He's 21. Kid's been an adult since he was 18. And he's still acting like a freaking child. Again, parents' fault. You know, parenting happens before adulting. But also, obviously, he doesn't have any friends that are telling him, bro, time to grow up. So his friend group sucks too. Yeah, this is literally an adult that knows mom and dad are going to pay for everything. And I mean, I'm going to be honest, hitting and screaming and everything like that when you're trying to discipline him, you kind of can't discipline him anymore. The discipline in this factor now is he's kicking and screaming and hitting you guys. It's called Jail time. That's all called assault, aggravated assault. So I don't know if you want to go that level. That's way far out there. Or if you just want to literally treat him like a child and start taking crap away. Keys, he's got not even a part-time job. Part-time's 20 hours. Kid goes to work once a week and probably works for 4. What's he getting in his paycheck? $10? Why even waste his time? So keys gone, job gone, which he doesn't want anyway. Internet gone. Kid can't be selling his stuff online, playing video games, all that crap if he's not going to contribute to the household at 21 years old. If he starts hitting and screaming, cops, jail time. Maybe he'll learn something. Maybe somebody in jail will tell him it's time to frickin' grow up. This aggravates me for multiple reasons. Reason number 1, he's not a kid anymore. He's acting like he's 4. If he doesn't have a mental disability, it's uncalled for and there's no excuse for it. Reason number 2, you should have started parenting at parenting age. I don't know how old your daughter is, but maybe with her, start parenting now. Or you're going to have another one of this on your hands. Just saying. If you didn't parent during the parenting stage, good luck parenting in the adult stage. Oh, wow. Sorry. I feel like I wasted my life or made all the wrong choices, and I don't know how to stop regretting it. Ed and I talked about something like this not too long ago. Feeling kind of lost lately. It's college decision season, and I can't help regretting my past 4 years of high school. It's high school. Don't even waste a brain cell on your past 4 years in high school. Not just because of the things I chose to do don't add much to my applications, but also because I feel like I missed out on so much. I spent my entire life chasing a D1 college athletic career in my sport, only to realize this past summer that it wasn't what I wanted for myself. Because of all the time I've spent on my sport, took up around 6 hours every day after school, plus weekends and traveling for competitions, I've had to miss out on so many aspects of high school, from joining clubs to being able to take difficult and interesting courses to have a friend group to having a friend group. Due to the nature of the sport I'm in, I also suffered pretty severe emotional abuse from a coach for years, which really took a toll on me mentally and caused me to develop a chronic illness, which in turn made me miss out on even more and made my life feel like hell. Going into college apps, I had thought that if I just got into a good school, all of my suffering up for the past few years would have been worth it. But after being rejected from one of my targets last week, I feel like I'm not going to get into any school that I actually want to go to because I wasted my life chasing something that I didn't even want. I feel like I don't know where to go from here because I've spent these last few years thinking that my college results will make everything I've sacrificed worth it. And if I don't get into a good school, my bad experiences are just things that make me worse. If that makes sense. Yeah, it does a little bit. I'm curious about what this sport is, though. If anyone has any advice on how to stop regretting my past choices or has been in similar situation, I'd really appreciate the feedback. It just sucks because, like, I could have been happy. I could have had friends and hobbies. I wouldn't have trauma and I wouldn't have been sick for months. I could have had a promising future. I had so much potential academically, and I feel like it's all wasted. That's deep. I mean, I'm gonna tell you the same thing I say about high school all the time. Don't even waste your time thinking back on high school. Stuff happened, whatever. If you're able to get into a good college off of the sport that you were playing, then great. If not, then I guess you gotta go off of something else. Go somewhere else. Maybe take a year off and just chill, bro. Like, find yourself again, kind of recover from that trauma. That's the only thing I can think of. The only thing I can think of that would put you through that much trauma would be like football or wrestling. That's the only thing I can think of. I can't imagine a swim coach putting you through like a bunch of mental trauma, or a soccer coach, or well, maybe baseball. I don't know, or tennis or something like that. Um, yeah, no, this is something. Don't worry about the 4 years of high school. If you don't get into college because with your sports stuff, probably mainly because they're not looking for that sports stuff. I thought colleges went out and, like, I guess, picked the kids that they wanted for the sport. Like, I thought that was the thing. I didn't know that you actually had to apply to the college for the sport or whatever. Anyway, maybe take a year off. Maybe take a year off, regroup, and find yourself again. Oh, doubting the paternity of my daughter, but my wife refuses a DNA test. Ooh. Ooh. DNA test refusal? I mean, if you're the dad, hospital should be doing a DNA test anyway because you're asking for it. Me and my wife have 3 children who are all in their teens now. We got together very young, and we're married when we were both 20. My wife was pregnant when we got married, and at that point, we'd been together for a couple of years. My eldest daughter is now 18. A couple of years ago, my wife and her friend had a huge falling out, and during that time, she messaged me saying my wife had cheated on me for years. Uh, oh, my wife and her friend. Okay. On me for years, on and off, with a guy she knew from school. Ooh. And she doubted I was the biological father of our eldest. I mentioned this to my wife at the time, and she said it wasn't true and just malicious lies from the fallout. I took my wife's word. I took my wife's word as I didn't really have any grounds to doubt her, and her former friend was known for lying in this sort of thing for a long time before. I mean, your oldest is 18. Why don't you just go get it done with your daughter? Or, yeah, your oldest daughter. So you and your oldest daughter go in and get it done. Shoot. Something in me couldn't shake what she said, and since then I don't want to say this word. I'm not saying that word because it's going to come out wrong, or people are going to think I'm saying something else. I've had a, whatever that word is, that it might be true. Nobody says that. Hunch. I don't know what this means. Nobody says that. I have a hunch that it might be true. My eldest daughter has a darker skin tone than both me and my wife, and looks different to my other 2 daughters. It's not noticeably different, but there is a difference. I contacted my wife's former friend months after she made this accusation, but she said she didn't want to get into it and said it was none of her business, but alluded to a guy that they used to meet when out as a group in clubs called Marcus. But she blocked me after I asked for more information. Bitch, you're not allowed to drop a bombshell like that on somebody and then sit there and be like, I don't want to get involved. Hey, your wife's been cheating on you for years off and on. Your oldest daughter might not be yours. Um, but I don't want to get in there. I don't want to get involved. That's not how that works. You don't drop bombshells and then walk away. Who do you think you are? Come on now. I did some digging and found some old pictures of my wife and this Marcus, and it was from around the time my daughter was conceived. I mentioned to my wife that I had been on contact with her old friend and what was said, but she had adamantly denied it and told me I should trust her, and it was a hurtful to question this. Bullshit. Bullshit. Excuse my language. I don't buy in to that whole asking for a DNA test is an insult and it's hurtful and all this other stuff. Like, get over it. You know what I mean? If the guy is asking for a DNA test and you either A, you know it's not his and that's why you're not taking the DNA test, or you know it's his and you're like, dude, this is your kid, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal. I full-heartedly believe that women that deny a DNA test, I full-heartedly believe they know that baby isn't their man's. They know it, and that's why they aren't taking the DNA test. And that's why they get offended at it. So it's like, there's no reason to get offended. You know what I mean? I brought it up again and mentioned the way my daughter looks compared to the rest of the family, and my wife couldn't really answer it and wouldn't really engage in the conversation. She's guilty as guilty, dude. This pisses me off. I'm swearing a lot. Excuse me. I brought up a DNA test, but again, she simply refused to consider it because it ain't your baby. I don't know what to do at this point. I feel if I keep pushing, it's going to cause major strain on the marriage, but part of me wants to know definitely with a DNA test. What should I do? Go get a DNA test. Your oldest daughter's 18. She is an adult. She doesn't need her mother's permission to go and do a DNA test with her father. Okay? Just take your daughter and be like, hey, we're going to go do a DNA test real quick. Daughter's going to be like, all right, bet. Can we stop by Starbucks? Like, for real. Again, I'm fully behind the notion that if a woman is vehemently, maybe that might not be the word I'm looking for, is hardcore avoiding a DNA test, that's not your kid. That's where my brain goes. I don't care if it hurts their feelings or you don't trust me or any of this other bull crap that comes out of some of these women's mouths when you ask for a DNA test. I do not care about your fifis, okay? I need to know if that kid's mine. Don't care about your fifis. And honestly, shoot, dude, she's 18. Go and get a DNA test. Done. Whatever. Or you can do this ancestry.com for all the kids and yourself. So you get yours and all the kids, ancestry.com, throw it in there, ancestry to tell you. And you get the little backup of finding out your thing here. But yeah, just go get it done, dude. You don't need your wife's permission to take your adult daughter to go get a DNA test done. Get your daughter a freaking Starbucks and hit the doctor and get a DNA test done. This is ridiculous, dude. Any woman that is like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, I, I see that as a blatant, I'm lying. This isn't your kid. So I'm going to comment on this one. Okay. That'll do it for this episode. Oh, I didn't tell you the comment from the last episode. So I'm going to tell you this one. Sorry. My bad. I said, I personally see all the avoidance and being offended as a big red flag screaming she isn't your kid. But also, kid's 18. Mom doesn't need to be involved in that decision. Get her a Starbucks and go to the doctor and get that DNA test done. Your wife's fees don't tell the truth on what's what. So that's how I see it. So you can come at me in the comments all you want. That's how I see it. How hard, if you know for a fact that kid is yours and that kid is his, women, I mean, like, really, in the comments, let me know. If you know for a fact that that baby is his and he has the suspicion that it's not, why avoid the DNA test? Because you know how, like, some women out there all like, oh, he doesn't trust me and this and that and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, sometimes, one, it's just a shock in the first place, but sometimes men have this suspicion and it's never been resolved. Maybe because you guys never had a conversation about the suspicion or whatever, but nonetheless, sometimes men have this suspicion. And if it's so easy to just knock that suspicion out of the water as a DNA test for the baby that came out of you, why it makes us men more suspicious when you make it a big deal to take a DNA test or for the baby to have a DNA test with the dad. We know it's yours, came out of you. We want to know if it's ours. You know what I mean? So I think women need to drop this whole I'm offended, you don't trust me, when my fees hurt crap about a DNA test being done or even requested by the man. Drop the show. Okay? Drop the show. It's done. Just get the test done. It's not that big of a deal. And if it, what are you afraid of? Only thing you should be afraid of is, you know, it's not going to match, or it has a possibility that it's not his kid and he's going to be like, I'm out. Betcha that's most of it. And so I don't know, because that's the most sketch thing. If I was having a kid with a woman and I said, yeah, let's get a DNA test done, you know, for me, it's just because maybe there was a suspicion and it never got squashed. But I'd be like, yeah, let's get a DNA test done. And she goes, oh, I'm offended that you would even want one. I'd be like, ha, now we're definitely getting one. Now we're definitely getting one. For sure. For sure. Anyway, just aside the point, dude, I mean, like, if you see this, kid's 18, go get her Starbies, go to the doctor, get a DNA test done, find out if she's yours or not. And, yeah, that'll do it. Love you guys. Much love.